High drive, left center field, going back is Bradley, it's gone! A walk-off home run for Joe Mauer!
Welcome back to the Ball Players Guide, everybody, your guide to everything baseball. Today, we are welcomed by special guest Wyatt. Say hello, Wyatt.
Hello.
Wyatt is here because he is arguing with us whether or not Joe Mauer is a Hall of Famer. Wyatt thinks that Joe Mauer does not belong in the Hall of Fame. The rest of us clearly, logically, and correctly think that he does belong in the Hall of Fame. So we're going to have a little mini debate. Wyatt is going to get absolutely drugged through the mud, face first. Going to be left bloodied and bruised at the end of this battle. Wyatt, would you like to say your piece and go ahead and just show everyone how wrong you are?
I'll show you how right I am.
We'll see.
So, in his first years as a catcher, he did really well. He won an MVP, a couple Gold Gloves. He was an All-Star. But then when you look over when he switched to first base, was it in 2000? It would have been 2014 or 15? 14. So when you look at that, his average started to dip. 277, 265, 261. Once he started off the only year he batted above 300 as a first baseman was in 2017, and that was 305. So that was barely even up there. But when you look at his on-base percentage, they're still up there at the 260 or the 360s. The high, he had 384 in 2017. So his 2017 season was obviously his best season as a first baseman. But, the home runs aren't there. He hit a career total of 143. So, I mean, that I don't think that definitely brings it down. And when you look at a guy that I think is arguably 2 times better than him, Derek Jeter. He had a 310 average, 260 home runs. Let's see, Joe Mauer, 143 home runs and a 306 average. So it's about the same. And Derek Jeter is in the Hall of Fame. And guess who isn't? Joe Mauer. Because he doesn't deserve to be there.
Eligible yet.
Well, he won't be when he's first eligible. He is not a first ballot Hall of Famer. Let's see, he was in the MVP running once, 2, 3, 4, a total of 5 times, and he won it the 1 time, correct? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah.
Yep, you're correct.
So after his 2009 MVP season, he really wasn't putting up the numbers that a Hall of Famer would put up, arguably.
What?
No. He never got any RBIs. Dude hasn't gotten above 100 RBIs in his career.
Do you realize the teams that he was playing on, who he was playing with?
That doesn't matter.
Look at
Trout. Look at Mike Trout. Look at the numbers he's putting up on the teams he's been on. Let's pull up Mike Trout's numbers.
Wyatt, we just filmed the Trevor Bauer reaction before this, and I was mad at the end of that one. I'm going to be so mad at the end of this one. I can already tell.
That's perfectly fine. So, let's say, his Trout's 2015 season. He had, 2014, my bad. He had 111 RBIs. To Joe Mauer's highest was 96, and that was his MVP season.
Also, RBIs is a totally useless stat. So
I wouldn't say totally useless.
It's pretty bad.
But that the MVP season, that definitely gives him a strong consideration. I will give you guys that.
Yeah,
because he batted 365. He had 28 home runs. I don't know where that came from. He must have been on something. But
1 year.
Yeah, that's 1 year. What has he done since that?
Okay, you want to know what he did since then? Awesome. I'll tell you what he did since then. From 2010
I'm
to
listening.
2018, he hit 294. He had 376 on base percentage, a 412 slugging percentage. He had a WRC plus of 115. For those of you smart baseball fans, you know that's a very good number. That's Hall of Fame numbers. I have Hall of Fame catchers pulled up right over here. Johnny Bench, a lot of people would argue the greatest catcher of all time. Career batting average of 267. Joe Mauer's career batting average, 306. Johnny Bench on base, 345. Joe Mauer, 388. I mean, what more do you want?
I don't know. I just think his first base career really brought him down. Like, yeah, if he would have became a catcher and kept putting up those numbers, he's easily a first ballot Hall of Famer. But when you look at his first base career, no.
He was a first baseman
If
for
you
5 years. He was a catcher for 10.
Yeah, you separate those two careers. He's nowhere close to a Hall of Famer his first base career. Am I wrong?
Okay, so we're
Or
talking
is that a good
off-
argument?
We're talking offensive stats right now.
Yeah.
You brought
As a
up
first
Derek,
baseman, he wasn't as good.
you brought up Derek Jeter.
Yep.
Were they designated hitters or did they play defense as well?
They both played defense.
Okay, Derek Jeter is the worst defensive player of all time. Joe Mauer is one of the
Still a
better
14-time
defensive
All-Star.
Joe Mauer is still one of the best defensive catchers of all time.
Also underrated defender at first base.
Yep.
Probably should have won a Gold Glove if that system wasn't rigged and stupid.
If not more than one Gold Glove. What else
He
do you
also
have?
won.
I'll
He
let
also
some-
won 3 batting titles as a catcher. And
Okay.
no other catcher had won one before that. He's the only catcher, I think, to ever win one. And he won 3.
Okay.
Is that all you got?
Me?
No, Wyatt.
Oh,
Just
gonna say.
Okay. So let's go back to Let's see his first base career. He played a lot more. Well, on average, he probably played the same amount of games as he did as a catcher. He missed a lot of games in his career, but also that is because he's a catcher and a lot of catchers sit out. So that's a fair argument. But I know we were talking about Hall of Fame. Is he in the Hall of Fame or not? But Joe Mauer has to be one of the most overpaid MLB players in history. His contract was not worth it after his catching career. I think Justin Morneau was a better first baseman than Joe Mauer.
Are we talking offense?
I'm talking
I-
all around.
All right, Logan has something to say.
I think I could agree with that. Like Justin Morneau's years at first base were better than Joe Mauer's years at first base. But if you combine Joe Mauer's catching, then I think obviously he had a better career than Morneau. But I think that
can
is a good
agree
point.
on that.
That is a good point.
So were you saying you would have rather had Morneau locked up on that 8-year, however much, rather than Joe Mauer?
What was Morneau's?
Morneau got traded in 2013. I don't know how much the Rockies paid him after that, but
He also barely played because he got hurt.
Morneau was never the same after that concussion in 2010.
Morneau had a 6-year, $80 million extension in 2008, and then Joe Mauer had his 8-year, $184 million. So I don't know. I'm not going to do the math right now, but
184 mil, you said?
for 8 years.
Morneau did win a batting title with the Rockies, but other than that, he just hardly played, it seemed like.
Also,
So Mauer's yearly salary would have been 23 mil a year.
Yep.
I don't like that.
I don't care.
I don't like that Josh Donaldson is getting paid as much as Joe Mauer was, but here we sit.
Okay, well,
Trevor
we're not
Bauer is
talking
gonna
about
make
Josh Donaldson.
Trevor Bauer is gonna make double what Joe Mauer did in 2022
Mhm.
if he stays with the Dodgers. So that's interesting to think about.
So when did Mauer get this contract exactly? Do we
Going
know?
into 2010 or 11,
So it was after his MVP season.
pretty much. Yeah.
Okay, so I can see why he got the money. But once he got the money, he was, I don't want to say mediocre because he was an all-star twice after that in the Silver Slugger. And 19th in the MVP, if that really says much.
Yeah.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say it doesn't really count for much, but I also want to say you said he didn't play. Like he missed a lot of games in his career. There's only 2 years that he didn't play in at least 100 games. One was his rookie year where he played in 35, and then it was 2011 when he played in 82 when he got hurt and missed literally half the season.
Yeah, then he's got 113, 120, 134. That's barely 130, 127. That's almost 50 to 60 games a year that he just misses for being either injured or whatnot, or just wants to sit out 'cause he's tired or something. I don't know.
I don't think we can say Joe Mauer ever went to the coach like, I don't want to.
I don't
I
know.
don't think Joe Mauer ever did that.
I don't know. You never know with people these days.
Someone else go. I'm mad.
I want to hear from Joseph.
Well, one of the things that's impressive to me is this guy walked more than he struck out in most years, as from 2004 until 2010-ish, maybe a little past that. He walked
His
like there
catcher
was one
career.
year, huh?
That's his catcher career.
That's what we're talking about, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even then, as a first baseman, like he only struck out 15 to 20 times more a season than he
Yeah.
walked, which is
Ryan,
insane.
Ryan, you're a big Fangraphs guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if you've seen the thing like they calculate like the value that somebody has or whatever. It says according to Fangraphs data, Mauer has been worth $298 million to the franchise, which is a surplus value of $103 million to what he was owed.
Weird.
So I do think, I don't know.
I just don't know how you can sit here and just say like black and white, Joe Mauer is not a Hall of Famer, because he clearly is based off of his numbers. Even if you take his catching career alone, which is 10 years, he is very clearly a Hall of Famer.
I think his first base career just totally minimized it. Like made his chances worse, I should say. Because if you take his just careers catching, I think he is a Hall of Famer. 'Cause he's got the MVP, he's got the All-Star games, he's got the Silver Slugger awards, the batting title.
No, I do think he's a Hall of Famer, but I think Wyatt does have a good point there. Like, I think the biggest argument against him is his first base career and how he was at the end. Because there's really no denying how good he was as a catcher. Which is, unfortunately, that'll be used against him probably, but I don't think it should be.
I just don't see how you can say that when the lowest he hit at first base was 261, and the only thing holding him back would be his hitting. Because at defense, he was perfect. Like 2017, he had 14 defensive runs saved. He was just a pretty good fielding first baseman. The only thing that really I see holding him back is the season where he hit 261 and 265. And in 2016, the 100 loss Twins, what can you do? He only drove in 49 runs that year, and that's because nobody was there. on base for him to drive in. Because Dozier was just hitting leadoff home runs. Whoever hit second wasn't getting on base. So it was just Joe Mauer, and he's not going to hit solo home runs.
I think
regularly.
another thing that kind of screwed over his career was the move to target field. Like, just how many more home runs he would have had if they would have stayed at the Metrodome. I guess that's something that Ryan would maybe know better, but just like the amount of fly balls he had to left center field that would have been gone at the Metrodome, I don't know. It's just something I remember thinking about.
They definitely did not do him any favors with the new stadium in any aspect. They basically took away his entire power alley. And so then they turn him into a doubles guy. But that's fine. It's Joe Mauer or whatever, but he's not fast. And so, I don't know. Yeah, the move to target field definitely didn't help him. I'm looking at stats for Hall of Fame first baseman. You take his, granted, it's 5 seasons or whatever. I mean, he's kind of up there. Granted, a lot of these guys have a lot more home runs than him, but they were only first basemen. It's like that's what they did. Mauer wasn't a first baseman by choice. Like he had to move over by necessity because they needed to save his legs because that's what happens with catchers. Like you look at the same thing with Buster Posey. Like he's done the exact same thing as Mauer. He's caught for 10 years, and now they're sliding him over to first base. They're trying to save their Hall of Fame caliber player so he can play longer. And you can easily make the argument that Buster Posey is a Hall of Famer right now. Buster Posey and Mauer have a lot of similar stats. Career hitter over 300. On base, Posey 370, Mauer 388.
Both have an MVP. I believe Posey won one, right?
What's that?
Posey won one, right? MVP.
Yeah, I did. Their OPS is literally 1/1000th off.
Posey's probably going to get him on home runs, but it's not going to be much either.
Posey has 140, Mauer has 143. So yeah, I'd say so. But also he plays at the Giants. We have a short field. And that's just like not the hitter that Mauer was. So it's unfair to like hold that against him, I guess. I don't know.
Posey's numbers will continue to go down.
Yeah.
Even if you just look at his last 2 years, like eventually I think Mauer will still be ahead of him by the end of Posey's career.
So I don't know. I'll fight for Joe Mauer until the day I die.
Okay, so I'm reading this, and it's why Joe Mauer's defensive career is overrated. And so a total rank on the defensive WAR and of players who have caught at least 885 fewer games, he doesn't even crack the top 100 players in that.
What are they using for defensive stats?
Hold on. So, and so obviously so the older catchers are gonna get better, defensive wars or whatever. So they say if you take out restrict the list to only post World War II catchers, he doesn't even finish in the top 80, and he's tied for Jonathan Lucroy. I'm not exactly sure what they're using for the defensive WAR, but
I mean, because like sometimes they don't take into account. This is like as a catcher only.
So I don't know exactly what a good amount is, but like what's a good amount of caught stealing percentage for a catcher?
25 to 30%.
Yeah.
20, like a good amount.
Yeah.
Okay, so Joe Mauer was easily above that almost every year except for in 2012. So he's got that going for him. What's like a good amount of stolen bases a year?
For a catcher,
Like,
one.
no, okay, I meant like on you, I should say.
I don't know. That all depends on like the teams that you play.
I suppose. Because it looks like he averaged probably around like 30 40 stolen bases per year on him as a catcher.
That sounds about right. That sounds about average.
I just found the same article that you're reading, Wyatt. Yeah, okay.
And he never dipped below, and he only dipped below 99% fielding percentage one season, and that was in 2011, where he had 98. So
Yeah, what?
he only dipped below a 99% fielding percentage once in his career, and that was 98.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, so like, I know where you guys are coming from.
The dude was nails, no matter what you look at.
I mean, we didn't watch every single game, so how many of those are easy plays that Joey would make at first base?
I'm
Still,
an
though,
elite
like-
defender. I am not going to take this slander.
I'm just kidding, Joe.
Okay, but like still though, like even if they are easy plays, you're still gonna get throws in the dirt, and you're still gonna have to like jump
Yeah.
and hit balls. Like
Oh yeah, no, I agree.
he's not really working with the best infield here in some of these years.
What do you
Oh,
mean? Come on, don't give him that.
Kloof, Florimone, Dozier,
Florimone?
elite. Have you seen him play defense? Dude's got one of the slickest gloves I've ever seen.
Dude, him and Plouffe on the left side of the infield is basically the same as having Donaldson and Simmons.
Exactly.
Is that why both of
Florimone
them
was on the way to be like
Defensively.
is that why both of them are still in the league?
I am kidding, by the way.
Florimone is.
But they were both pretty good defensively.
I don't know, man. I mean, regardless of how
I
good
just argued against the case we're trying to make here, but
See,
Kloof also had one of the worst arms at third base, I think, ever.
sorry, Trevor.
Yeah, friend of the pod. Sorry, Trev, but
Also probably all gummied up.
yeah, probably won't even notice.
Probably didn't realize a baseball was coming at him half the time. I think it's pretty clear Joe Mauer is a Hall of Famer. Just like looking at his numbers, looking at his catching numbers alone, he is. And then you take his first baseman numbers, like they're not so bad where they just completely discredit his entire career.
no,
Because, I mean, there were years he's getting on base 40 to 45% of the time, especially from a position where you're not supposed to be on base. Where you look at, there are catchers now who hit less than 200 and get a job every year. Jeff Mathis, look up Foolish Baseball's video on Jeff Mathis. It's incredible. But he has a job every year because that's what catchers are supposed to do. Mauer was a good defender who raked. And then even same thing when he went over to first base. And I think because he was supposed to be the guy, just because the Twins didn't have that money, he gets that kind of negative mark on him because he didn't hit those home runs. But he was never going to be that hitter. Like, that just wasn't him. I truly think that 28 home run season, I don't know what happened there, but that's not him. Like, even just watch that. Some of those baseballs that were flying onto that stadium should not have gone out. So I don't know if it was like a weird baseball. I don't know.
I wonder what would have happened if he would have played in 2019 with those balls. Maybe you see a jump. Maybe he hits 15 instead of 7. But
I don't know.
so do you guys think he's a first ballot?
No,
yes.
Buy
I
it?
don't think he's first ballot. I
Well,
don't know.
you got Hall of Fame doesn't. I don't does Hall of Fame only go off stats? Because I'm pretty sure it's like what they do off the field also helps their case, which what he did off the field for his whole career definitely puts him there in that category.
But you can also make the argument because he's such a quiet guy and he's not like flashy and showy. Like people probably don't know a lot about that off the field stuff. They just know him as like a good Minnesota nice guy.
He also played for the Twins, and
Mhm.
all the big boy people up front don't like small market Twins at all.
To me, I say he's a first ballot Hall of Famer, but I'm also extremely biased because he's one of my favorite players of all time. I say he's, if it's a weak Hall of Fame class, yes, I say he gets in. If not, like if there's a couple other guys who could get the vote and maybe steal it from him, I'd say he's 2 or 3. But if anyone can look up and see like what his Hall of Fame class might be,
That's what I'm checking.
that would be interesting. So I guess long story short, it depends.
All right. So
Ooh.
you're looking at Scott Rowland, Vizquel, Billy Wagner, if these guys aren't elected later, but
It won't be.
Mark Burley, Torrey Hunter, Gary Sheffield, Manny Ramirez, A-Rod, Beltran, Utley, Ortiz, David Wright, Teixeira, Bartolo, Jimmy Rollins, Matt Holliday, Adrian Gonzalez,
Bartolo.
and Jose Bautista.
Okay, so the locks out of that group, David Ortiz, obviously.
I don't think he's getting in. I'm pretty sure he was linked to steroids.
Yeah, but he recovered from that. Like some people, I don't know.
I
think once you do it once, you're
Well,
just
I think
done,
by that
pretty
time,
much.
I think by the time that he gets on the ballot, so it's like what 2023, you have to have 5 years, be 5 years out.
2024, this one is.
24.
Okay, so I think by then you're gonna have a lot of the old white dude writers who are like, "All right, how you playing the game?" I think they're gonna be gone, and I think a lot of like the more people like-minded like us are gonna be in. Like, yeah, he was good. Like he did it once, get him in. Like he's still Big Poppy.
Beltre's obviously first ballot.
Yeah.
Beltre is the other one. Yep.
Let's see. Beltre would. I don't think A-Rod will.
Nope.
Ortiz, I think he will, but if, like you said, if it's still the old people, he won't. Bartolo, no, because he had steroids.
Come on. Come on. Joe. Come on
He was
now.
on steroids.
Joe Big Sexy.
Right. And then Beltran's
Twins
case,
legend.
I think, is lost because of 2017.
Right. Yep. So I could honestly see him getting in there, maybe with like 80% of the vote.
Yeah.
Maybe split it Beltre, Ortiz, Maurer. That would be a decent class. I think some of the other guys you listed off right away, like Manny and Roland, I think they'll be off the ballot completely by then, or maybe just barely hanging on. So that'll be interesting.
Gary Sheffield and Andrew Jones, maybe, and Billy Wagner. Billy Wagner, I think, should.
Yeah, same with Scott Rowland. I think Scott Rowland should get in when you look at his numbers. He was very sneaky, extremely good. I could see them getting in like the year before, maybe.
Yeah. Because Scott Rowland was on it this year, I think.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that'll be interesting to look at and actually see like what's going on there.
You need 80% of the vote, right? To get in?
5.
Is it 75?
75 to 80. Logan's looking it up.
Justin Morneau will be on the 2022.
I don't think he gets in.
Looks like no. He's going into the Canadian Hall of Fame. I know that.
Of course.
75%.
75. Okay, that's what I thought.
Okay, so Schilling was only 4% off.
Yeah, and it's because of all of his comments that he made.
Yeah.
And his prior opinions, especially like anti-Islam stuff that we don't need to get into on this family-friendly podcast. Wyatt, any last arguments as to why you are wrong before we let the comments decide and just absolutely destroy you?
I don't have any last comments. My case has been said.
Your case is
But
made.
I would like to give a shout out to my guy Raj, who I know will agree with me that Derek Jeter is better than Joe Mauer.
That's because he's biased and doesn't know the facts.
Oh.
He refuses to admit that Derek Jeter is the worst defender. I don't know if that's true. I'm just gonna say he's gonna say that when I ask him.
The worst defender of all time.
He is.
Logan, do you have a trivia question for us?
I guess. I forgot about it until 5 minutes ago. So
Nice.
we're
At least you're not like me and have to make it up on the spot like the Cubs episode.
That was
All right.
rough.
Who was the starting left fielder for the 1991 Minnesota Twins?
No thanks.
Are we guessing? Are we
Yeah.
gonna guess? Like anyone can guess?
Yep.
Randy Bush.
No.
That's a hell of a name. Did Al Newman? He didn't start, did he?
No, he was a second baseman.
That's what I thought.
This is
Uh,
you guys should know this.
Gene
That might give it
Larkin.
away. No.
Did Dan Gladden play the outfield?
Yes.
Yeah, I
Let's
couldn't
go.
think of his name.
A mullet god. We love a Dan Gladden mullet on this podcast. All right. Well, Wyatt, it's been fun. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you
If
for
you want-
having me.
If you want to come on anytime and argue terrible baseball takes, we're always open.
You got any more hot takes for us, Wyatt?
Yeah, a little tease.
On the spot. Well, Derek Jeter is better than Joe Mauer.
We're
We'll
gonna
save that for another time.
We're gonna have to have an entire Derek Jeter episode, and we'll have to bring on Raj so we can.
Yeah, I think we need to bring
Yeah.
on somebody that would agree
Yeah.
with me at least.
Yeah.
I'm outnumbered, so
It's just there was no hope for you.
Wyatt.
So
Yeah, Wyatt. This was me when they did the Cubs decade team last week. I literally just got flamed.
Joe just
and that's
I-
all right, Joe.
I may have
That's all right,
casually
Joe.
just forgotten two of the best pitchers in Cubs history, but
Oh, Joseph.
Joe forgot the Cubs won the World Series. It's fine.
yeah.
No big deal. All right.
All right.
Well, that's all for us. Thanks for
Mauer
listening,
is
everybody.
a Hall of Famer.
By
Remember
far.
that.
No.
We'll be dropping a rap track about how Joe
No.
Hall of Famer dissing Wyatt
Oh my God.
coming to SoundCloud. Thanks for watching, everybody.
Oh
See ya.
boy.